nice day. Welcome to another stream. I will be today streaming. We're going to continue working on our parser. So on Friday we made some changes to our parser. So today we are just going to be just going back and so yeah, Friday we refactored it. We made some changes to make it more readable and to make it more helpful. Today we are just gonna go back and make some changes on so we made it more readable and more helpful for us to understand it. Today we're just gonna go back to the parser itself, and then we're gonna start using building on top of the scanner that we built. So we're just gonna make sure that everything is working correctly, and then we start maybe we could even use it for our current chatbot too, so we could start using that too as part of this. So we could start doing more and more, start using our changes more and more. This is kind of what we're going to be working on. Yeah, and I'm trying something new with the stream setup. I reduced the latency between the stream, so things should be showing up faster. Let me lower the. Thanks for thank you for letting me know. Let me know if this is better. But yeah, so I made some changes to the stream setup as well. I also made sure that the music is a bit louder during the start of the stream, but it should be quieter when the stream is going on. So if it's too loud again, please let me know. Thank you, Copter, for letting me know that it was too loud, so I reduced the music. Let me know if this is better. Yeah, so I made some changes to the stream. Right now, the way it's working is that it's gonna be we are recording. I'm recording this locally as well, so I'm recording the stream locally, so I could upload it to like YouTube later on, or make some edits. So if I find some parts are very helpful for people to know, I could make some changes to that as well. So I'm using OBS. So I'm using OBS Studio for streaming. And that's kind of how I'm like, there's different settings that you could do. So one of the settings that I'm doing right now is just being able to just manage the recording for it. So the changes that I made were to reduce the latency. So I could show you OBS. So I'm gonna disable this the preview so it become trippy. So I thought about using Streamlab, but I decided to go with OBS because I could use it for other things too, not just streaming. Like I wanted to use it for recording and things like that. So the changes that I made for OBS were, so I started using the advanced features. So I changed, I tuned it to 0 latency. So that means that like what we're seeing live is way faster than we're getting. So hopefully if you see, I hope you guys don't see any frame being skipped or anything like that. And then I'm also using like, the encoding it's using a lot of CPU. So one thing that happens since I'm an affiliate now, I cannot stream to YouTube at the same time that I'm streaming to Twitch. So that's kind of one of the things that happens when you can affiliate, is that you can only stream to one place at a time. So I cannot stream to both places at once. So the other change I did too now is also I changed the recording. So now when we're live and we're streaming, oh wait, okay, so it's not recording. So I thought it was gonna be recording, but it's not recording, so I had to make a record. So we're recording at the same time as well. So I missed some pieces of it. But what I'm trying to do is do both, and I want to make sure that things don't get too hairy as we're doing this. If not, I will have to figure out a different setup. I could start using my desktop for streaming, and then use the MacBook just for coding, and then somehow get this stream into the MacBook. Yeah, and then we still need to fix our bot over here, and it's being tagging. Yeah, so when you are an affiliate, you for your own channel, you become a tier 3 subscriber for your own thing. That's a badge. So if you become a tier 3 sub, if you get a tier 3 sub, you automatically get that badge. Since I'm the broadcaster for this channel, I automatically get it for myself. But yeah, so I'm trying like multiple things here. I'm trying to make the stream faster so I could react to you guys faster. and I'm also trying to record the stream as it goes. Hey, SSP, how's it going? So I made Copter and SSP VIPs as well before. So during our Friday night gaming stream, we ended up getting their VIP badges. So we got like 5 of them. So I gave them to some of you guys. So I hope you enjoy. You should read up the benefits of having a VIP badge because some of them are very cool. Yeah, so you're very welcome. So what I'm going to be working on today is just like using our parser. So I ended up making all the necessary changes to our scanner from Friday. There was a lot of like tedious work that had to happen and very repetitive. So I just ended up just making sure that we were it made it more easier for this function. This function used to be like 400 lines of code. And I tried to reduce the size of it a bit more. I think by 2,000, sorry, not 1,000, by like 300. So I just ended up splitting up some of the functions. I ended up splitting up some of the functionality into their own files to make it a lot easier. And then I created functions that we were using for parsing that information. And then I just want to make sure that I didn't run the test for our parser, so I just want to make sure that our parser is working correctly. Yeah, it's working correctly. So now our main goal is to scan some of the messages that we need. So by the end of the stream, I'm hoping that I'm able to start using our parser for parsing some of this information. Not all of it, but some of it. So like we could see like some of the messages that are being sent. I could probably make this cleaner. And then when I make it cleaner, we could start using it more and more. So that's kind of the goal today. So the goal today is just going through our parser and just start using it for our current spammy bot account. And also chat with you guys. So if you have any questions of what is going on in my screen or anything, let me know. Also, thank you for this to the new subscribers if they're around. During our stream on Friday night, we ended up getting 2 new subscribers, so thank you so much. No, so I don't think I will get it verified, because we don't need it to do too much. We only need it if you're gonna use it in other channels, but for now it's only gonna be in my channel. Where is the verification? Yeah, so it's currently on my channel and it's a moderator. So if you make it a moderator, you don't really have to give it any other permissions. So I just made it a moderator, which it could send 100 messages every 30 seconds. I think that's pretty enough for us. I don't need to make it. I can, but not too many. I can only make custom badges for this the subscriptions, and I could only make custom badges for. I don't think I could make a custom badge for the VIP, but I could look it up. But that would be pretty much that. Oh no. He cannot have a custom badge. He's just a regular account. So when you create a bot account, it's just a regular account. And the bad thing about that setup is also if someone comes in and gives like 5 subs or something like that, the bot account could get a subscription. So one thing I might end up doing is just giving it a subscription, like gifting a only subscription to it, so we don't have to worry about like someone mistakenly giving it a subscription. That will be like the only disadvantage of it. But everything else like works correctly. And it could just handle most of the things that we're doing. It could handle it correctly. So what I want to do now is I want to just like start using some of these messages to write more tests. Because we want to make sure that everything is working correctly. So the things that I want to handle right now for our account, for our current bot that is running, that what I'm doing hard coding right now is I am so we need to do the acknowledgement. So we want to parse that, and we want to parse these 3 messages. Well, not 3 messages. These 4 messages here. And then I want to parse every time there's a pin. So we could handle that, but that's pretty much it. There is nothing else we're gonna be doing. And yeah, so that's kind of the goal today, is to be able to support those things. What do you want to check? Oh, you want to check the output? Sure. So that's pretty much. So the way it works is that you have tags. So it tells you like different things about the user that is talking. So this is how they message this parse. Yeah, and when you use like a highlighted messages, it also shows it. The special thing about the highlighted messages is that it comes with an ID type, and if the ID type is highlighted, and then it uses a different color. So it uses a default, like the default color. So there's a set of colors that you can use. So it uses those colors. I could. So I was thinking of doing those things, but sometimes like it becomes, if you don't have a lot of moderators on, people could abuse those things. And do you mean like me read the message? Like, does his highlighting my messages do anything? It could be fun. Oh, one thing I thought too is, one thing that we probably do later on is like, if you could use something called let's see, you could share. So you could buy points from Twitch, and then you could share the channel, and then those shares could contain messages. Like if you spend like one, I think it's called, I have to check the name of them. I can't remember the name of them, but if you do shares, then you could look at. Give me a second. So yeah, so there's like shares and things like that you could do, and when you do a share, you could like right. Yeah, it's called bits. So if you give bits to a to someone, you could start using it. Yeah, so if you give bits to someone, you could start using that, and that should show up in the stream too. But that's kind of the cool thing. That's kind of the things I've been thinking about like doing. But for now, I want to do the chats first, because it would be cool to have the chats show up as part of the, as an overlay, as part of the chat. So I'm gonna do that first, and when I'm done with that, I would then start jumping into doing like the different cool things that we could do. And it would be cool for also, so it would be cool in 2 things. It would be cool for when we're streaming coding, but it will also be useful for when we're playing games, like last Friday. And like, yeah, so currently I'm just gonna go and just like start finishing up the parser, so we could start using it for our current very noisy spamming bot that we have. So right now the bot itself is just like listening to every time someone joins, and then so it listens to every time someone joins, and then when someone joins, it automatically posts a message saying like what we're working on. But it's a very lightweight. It just like it just listens to that and just keeps waiting for it. So that's kind of what it's doing. So we wanted to handle caps next. So the capability of our server. For this one, we are just getting a oh wait, we do have a user. No, we don't have a user. So first we have the host that is in the message. Then we have the command, and then we have a asterisk, and then we have an acknowledgement command, and then we have the message that we're going to be looking at. So that's kind of what we have to support. Yeah, I can. If you mean for like parsing streams and things like that. Yeah, so our test is failing. We could figure out, like, after I'm done building this, we could build cool things on top of it, right? We could build like different ways to handle like different modes too. One thing I was thinking about adding is just adding like a way for me to start to like change the chat. So one thing I thought was cool. I'm not sure if you guys are gonna find this cool. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find the setting. One thing I want to play around is with this. So this is kind of like a joke where you could only talk using emotes. Let's see. So yeah, so you could do things like this, right? And then maybe for a few seconds, the chat itself turns into an emote chat. Yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted to do. So I took your points because you turned it on. So you requested it. I turned it on. Oh, I think you render something. So if you look up, you render. This is how it looked like. So this is what you did. So that's what happened. You render at the same time that I was turning it on. So you ended up losing your points. Sorry. Sorry about that. But now you could, if you watch the stream for a few more minutes, you could get some points. Don't forget to click that box. So if you don't click that box, then you can do things. Weird things are gonna happen. Okay, so now we just want to create a new function. So now we're parsing. So parsing private messages. We need to parse. Oh yeah, so the Discord server is around. We do have a Discord server. I just don't have enough. I just need to figure out how to. When I finish the bot, I will move on to. I just don't have time to do the Discord publicly yet because we need to put moderators and things like that. Parse user. Okay, so let's wait until this is done, and then we could do that too. Yeah, that's the issue. So if I open it up, it's gonna be very spammy. So I just want to make sure that we figure out like how to run the stream itself, and then just move on to like building a community in Discord. Because then it will make it a lot easier if we do that. So for our cap, we only care about the command itself, but we only care about this here. So we could do that. So let's see. We could save the message and the command that we're in. We don't really care about the command. We care about the token. Current token. And since we have a current token, we could then look for our cap token. So I don't think you could have idle polls. It's kind of one of the bad things. It's like I don't think you could have idle polls. Someone has to manually make the polls. So like every time you request a poll, I just I give you your points back. But every time there's a poll, I have to go and make it myself. Yeah, well, the thing is like also people could just abuse it too. So we have to be very careful with what the polls themselves are doing. Because people could abuse it. If no one's keeping it. So here's the thing. The bugs do a lot of things, but it's how people will abuse it. That's the way to think about it. It pretty much applies for everything in programming, right? The thing that you have to always think about is like, if I do this and I remove the human element out of it, how can someone go and abuse it, right? If I let people like auto create polls as I go, like through paying some points, and then when they pay some points, the bot will go and create the poll for me. Then anyone could put anything in the poll, right? And that means it could be anything. Like it could be copyrighted material that shouldn't be there. It could be like bad things that will probably affect if I'm an affiliate or not. So it could be a lot of things. So well, that's pretty much applies to everything in programming. It's like how can someone abuse it and how can you protect against it? There is like a whole thing that you never trust the client. So like the client, whatever is interacting with your software, you should never trust it because it could take advantage of it if they find a way to do it. So it could be anything. So that's kind of the bad thing about when you build software. It's like you have to always think about like, if I do this right now, what is the worst thing that someone could do? Like right now, if someone wanted to abuse, if someone wants to abuse the system, they can. If you leave the chat and you wait 5 seconds or 30 seconds and then join again, our friendly spamming bot will start spamming the channel saying what I'm going to be working on. So that's the things that will start happening, and the kind of the things we want to start avoiding. Like we want to make sure that we avoid as much as we can, because if we start avoiding that as much as we can, then it's like we don't have to, like, we could protect the channel from getting spam. But sure, you could be a good moderator, right? But that means you have to watch the stream every single day. Like you won't be able to do anything else but watch the stream. You have, but I just mean like I wouldn't want to put the burner into people, right? It's like if we don't have to do it, what you do? You have to play Fall Guy. You have to get better at it. You know, I've been practicing. I ended up getting the PS4 version of it. I ended up getting the PS4 version of it, and I'm better by using the remote. So I ended up getting really good at just using the remote. Oh, nice! Congrats! I got to round 4. Only once, but I got to round 4 by using the PS4. Now the thing I need to figure out for myself is like, how am I gonna be able to convert that win in the PS4 to a win in a by using the computer version of it. Because like that would be the biggest issue, right? It's like I'm not sure how I'm gonna be able to compare that win to a PC version. Yeah, so that's kind of the thing I want to do, right? I want to get to that round. I want to get to the round with the honeycombs. Oh, just a oh wait, you could do that. Kind of. You just need to figure out how to like record the screen and like pick up patterns on the screen. I think I messed up something. I think that should be your next project. It's how to write a AI that could play Fall Guys. What's up? Do it. You should definitely do it. Oh, it's not channel. Message. That's why it's being weird. Okay. And I need to send a command. Yeah. So, I don't think if you're playing fair and you're not like doing weird things to cheat on the game, I think that we might be okay with you having a fake player playing around. Like as long as you're not like cheating as when you're playing with that account and like the account is legit just trying its best to win. Then yeah, I don't see why. But again, has to be legit. Like you cannot be like using any of the weird tools that people have been using in the game. Cool. So we have cap working now. So we could test it, make some changes to make sure that works. But yeah, well guys, if you want to play it, if you want to write a ball for it, you should. Just make sure that it doesn't do any weird hacking, like jumping. You could also ask them if they're okay. Like you could you could talk to the company that made the game and ask them if they're okay with you doing that too. But one of the if you do any kind of research on machine learning, anything like that, so AI stuff, you could look into StarCraft. StarCraft is the company, like the company that runs the game is very open for people like writing bots that you could play against, which is cool. But yeah, could be cool. Also, as you can see, imagine if your messages were showing up right here. Like all your messages were showing up. I'm not sure. Can you see my pointer? Yeah, you can. So imagine if your chat messages will show up here. You should always make it open source because, well, depends. Like, do you feel like you're gonna sell it to people? If the answer should be no, but you should always make it open source. Like, because then you could use it. You could use it as part of your portfolio, for when you're looking for a job or something like that. Also, just for fun. Like sometimes I open source for things for fun. So I'm gonna open source this. When I'm done, I'm gonna end up open sourcing the whole thing, including the overlays. I'm gonna open source it completely. So if you ever want to use this for your own stream, you can. So we're getting the cat messages. So that works. What else do we need to get? The pings. Yes, but you have to learn Go. Oh wait, no, you won't be able to do it in Go. You have to figure out which language you might have to use it, because you might have to interact with memory directly. Thank you, SP. I'm glad you're enjoying this conversation. Yeah, so you might have to deal with the memory directly, because I'm not sure. So when you do web development, sorry, when you want to manage, when you want to manage the browser itself, the browser gives you access to controlling it. So Chrome has this thing called Hello Browser, which allows you to take over the browser, and you can find elements in the page, right? Unless the game has something built in directly like this, you have to figure out how to keep track of certain things, and in most games, you have to hook into the memory. But might not be the case here, so you might have to do some research on how you would do it. But yeah, Chrome has this thing called headless browser, which allows you to just like hook into the browser, and then you could do commands to it. So you could be like, oh, click here, and it will go and click for you. You could run it where you could see it, or you could run it in the background, and you don't have to see it. So the next thing we will have to do is manage the joins. So SSP, I'm gonna be using your message of joining as part of this here. But that's kind of like the interesting things that are gonna start happening. Is like you will have to figure out how to access memory, how to move your mouse, and how to do the different things. We don't have a message, but we do have a username. And we have a command, which we haven't defined yet. That could happen unless if they're using like a peer-to-peer connection. That could happen. But most of the time, it depends. Yeah, I think it happens with like some of the old CS:GO games. Yeah, that would be very bad. Well, here's the thing. It will happen to me if I connect to your local Minecraft server. Think about it. I might have to get one too if I'm gonna be playing like in random servers. I will have to get a VPN too. But I will probably host it myself. I won't probably pay for one. It might be something that I do in stream too. It's like how to set up a VPN on like one of the cloud providers. Let's see. I think it goes both ways. Like you won't be able to see it at all. Okay, so now we need to figure out how to handle the joins. So when someone joins, we want to make it part of the parsing. So wait, I want to make sure that I follow the right order. So when someone, yeah, when I first join, I get myself. So it goes, I'm gonna make, so the way I'm trying to keep the order of the functions is on the order that they happen. So the first thing that happens is we check for the cap. Oh, I lost my copy. So we get this here. Then I believe this one goes here. So we have that. Have cap, which is when we first start connecting to the server. And we need to change the, oh, we have the right order. Okay, so we first parse the capability of the server, when the server acknowledges them. Then we parse the username. But before the username, we parse the username. Then the next thing we're gonna parse is the join. Oh wait, passive value. Oh, it's because it's the first talking though. So we're gonna parse it joining when someone joins. So we go up a bit, parse username. And when someone joins, we want to make sure that we parse that. So as we go, we're writing tests, right? So we have our first case where we're trying to figure out, like, okay, did this person join? And if they did, let's collect the information for that person. So joined. What do we need from this person? Okay, so they join. Okay, we need to get a channel. So the next thing we'll get a channel. So we could just do again here. We can take this here, put it here, and just be like, the command is joined, and we need to loop through the whole thing again. That's no. Well, it will be the hard thing will be more of like, how the heck will you handle each different levels? It's like you have to train it in like different ways to handle the levels, right? It's like there are so many different levels, and you have to figure out how to handle each level. Well, I thought Unity was mostly for building the games themselves. It would be cool if you could use Unity for build it. We also have to retrain it on every level. Well, sorry, not every level. We will have to retrain it every time that we reach. We will have to retrain it every time that we reach. So every time that they change the levels or they release a new season, you have to retrain it. But maybe something that we could do is stream. We could do like a stream of like us trying to figure out how can we create a bot that will play Fall Guys automatically. That could be fun. Seriously. Ooh. So there's something's wrong with our parser. Oh wait, I copied too much, that's why. I was gonna be like, something's wrong with our parser because the exclamation point is being included. We're doing this. Oh wait, that's also wrong. We could also that could be good content. Just watch us bang our head against the wall for a while, trying to figure out how to do it. Like, well, we could even go the simpler way and not connect to the game directly. We could just do screenshots of the game. That would be bad. Like, taking screenshots of the game, pre-processing the screenshots of the game. Like, we won't be able to win. Like, every half a second, take a screenshot of the game, parse it, and then figure out if you're gonna turn left or right. Okay, so we have the join. The next one we need is ping, because like if we don't have the ping, it wouldn't work correctly. But it could be fun. So as you can see, this is all our messages. All your messages are showing up here. So we have all the messages going on. What is this here? So we don't have a way to handle this. How will this behave? Yeah, we don't have. This might break it. So I don't know what this is. So you have to look it up. So I think this here will break our parser. Yeah, it will definitely break it. we'll have to figure out how to handle that later. So I haven't ever played with Unity, so it could be fun. Okay, that's the wrong screen. So the next one we need to handle is the ping messages. So every 5 minutes, the Twitch server will ping us and ask for more information. Oh, that's a lot. You should start buying customs. You know that they have the portal, like a portal costume that you could wear. So you can just buy that. Or you have it already. Wait, do you have the pants too? Yeah, there's only two. There is like the top of it and then the pants. It's cool that you have the pants. You have both of them. Oh. Oh yeah. So yeah, Fall Guys is free in the PS4. So if you have like a subscription for the PS4 PS Plus, you could get it. You could download it for free. So I didn't have to pay when I got it when I was playing it last time. So it was a lot of fun. So I got the messages going in, the channel, message that returns. Why is it complaining? Oh, there's something more. Oh, the channels. I got this channel. The input, the channel, the message, the username. Oh, the username is missing. That is too bad. But I heard that it might make a crossplay on the next version. So what is that? What is 51? Why is it complaining that I cannot parse? Parse on define. Oh, I didn't save the file. Yeah, so it could be kind of cool to build something around Fall Guys, just for fun. Just for fun, seeing if we could make something that could be the game. So here's the thing, something that could play better than me. That should be the end goal. It's like, let's build something that could be better than Miguel in the game. And we have achieved, the bar is very low, so we have achieved something very impressive there. So if every game it gets to like, at least in the wall one will be easier. So at least in every game, if it gets to like round 2 on the wall one. Yeah, that should be the first thing that you need to build, right? Is you have to build a way to interact with the game. I think that's also very important too, right? It's like if you to be able to you have to interact with the game to do anything else, so you have to figure out how to build a way to interact with the game. I think that's pretty much what most of the time will be consumed, right? It's like you have to figure out, well, the most of the time will be consumed in the AI itself, but at the beginning, the most of the time you're going to be spending is just like, how do you connect to the client? How do you talk to it? Oh, thank you. Mostly because I'm just curious. That's kind of the way I see it. It's like I am down to try anything that I find interesting. So I'm not afraid to learn new things. So yes, new content is gonna be after we're done with the Twitch client, we might just end up writing a Fall Guy way to interact with Fall Guy. So that's kind of the way to do it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it a lot. So now we just need to parse our ping message. So what I'm gonna be doing next is just we need to parse this message here. So what do I do for work? It depends. So I am considered something like a full stack engineer, which just means that I do a lot of front end work. So like JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. But I also do it also takes on backend too. So a lot of coding like this, right? You use something like Go or Python or JavaScript as well with Node.js. So those are the two parts. But I also, again, because I'm curious a lot, I also do something called SRE. So SRE is it's called Site Reliability Engineering, which just means that I could do infrastructure too. Kind of, yeah. So I could do but the thing is, like, I could also do infrastructure. So I'm just like, I have a bit of everything. So at the end of the day, it's like I could not to give a plug at this, but this book is really good. It's just it's someone that is able to like manage different areas of the code base. But that's kind of what I do at work. It gets scary sometimes, though. Like part of my work was to work on the Linux kernel at some point. But yeah, it all depends on the company and what they want me to do and what they want me to focus on. In my like personal life, totally depends on what catches my interest. Right now, the thing that's catching my interest is just like setting up the stream, and then I might find something else to work on after we're done with this. It might be interesting for people to watch and for me to do too. Like Fall Guys. But yeah, it all depends on the company itself. So right now I'm just like adding the different parsing logic. Since we have a parser now, I'm just using the scanner. Since we have the scanner now, we are able to just like parse the different messages and just like get it right away for us. That's kind of the cool thing about the parsing. Is like you don't have like you could use the tokens themselves to find where different things are. So to parse the ping, we just need to look for the ping when the scanner gets to the ping. If it gets to the ping, we just want to set the command as ping, and we're just gonna loop through the whole thing until we get to the end. But before we get to the end, we also want to get the message. So that's kind of the cool thing that we're doing right now. And it's all thanks to the scanner, right? So the scanner itself is doing most of the work, and we just have to like plug things together and get it to work. Yeah, so for me, it's like the thing that happens is like I'm very interested in learning new things, and that's kind of what the SRE role is, the site reliability role is. It's just pretty much learning new things. There's times that you get to work on things that no one has touched in like 5 or 6 years, and you have to figure out what to do with that. And also you have to learn multiple programming languages, right? So you have to learn like Scala sometimes, or C++ or C, just to be able to do something. So like there's a lot of back and forth, and I like that a lot. So that's kind of what I find attractive from it. So our ping is working, but I found something that our scanner doesn't support right now. yeah, so if you're great at learning new things, software engineering in general is a good thing because you have to constantly be learning new things. So one thing that our channel doesn't support is this here. So I get a rune status, so this is supported. But the thing that is not supported is when we first join, it gives us all this information, right? So let's see if we plug this into our plug it. If we put it here, so see, I have never learned how to deal with the butterfly knives. I'm afraid to cut myself with that thing. Oh, you had a trainer. Cool. Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, so right now the issue that we have with one thing that I'm facing right now is that our account doesn't handle this well at all. Really good at all. But we do have a status code. We have a status code of 353, so we could handle that. Not sure. I'm not sure if I want to pick it up. I'd totally be afraid of hurting myself. Like, what if you pluck yourself in the hand when you're trying to do one trick? Oh, I also haven't seen the trick still. So we have the viewers. Okay, we have the channel, we have the viewers. And okay, so now that we have this here, so we could go to our handy. Wait, where is it? I think I lost it. RS client backs. Yeah, I think that's it. That's a goal. So yeah, the goal will be to keep a list of all the users that have joined in the past couple of every time. So every stream, I'm gonna make a list, and then when you join the first time, I'm just gonna add you to a list, your name to the list, and then it's not gonna send it again when you join the second time. So that would be the cool part. Oh yeah, which extra part? Do you mean this part here? Well, yeah, so I'm gonna use that. Yeah, so I'm gonna use that to build a list. So the first couple of users that are already in the chat, I'm not gonna see it. And so I found a way to parse this, right? So we have the codes that, so these are response codes that the server is sending to us. So we have 353 and then 366. And by looking at the specs, we have it's called nam replies, so the names of the people that are already in this channel. And then we get also the end of it. So when we get to the end, we know that we're done. Where do you see Mabi? What do you mean by Mabi? Mabi? Okay, so we have... This is what we're putting in. And we're pressing to get a channel. Oh, yeah, I'm bad at spelling too, so no worries. Maybe, yeah. Maybe. Okay, so we have that, and then we have to add a name for it. So what I usually do is just call it, I'm just gonna call it what they call it here. I'm just gonna go here, add a new command. But we also have to change our scanner because our scanner doesn't support that yet. So the best thing about adding this new command is because we made some changes to make it super easy for us to add new things to the scanner. It would be straightforward. Yeah, I think is maybe. I think it's maybe what he meant. So yeah, so we could use reply, name reply here. And let's save this. Yep, I messed up my buffer. Okay. So we need to add a new command to our setup because we don't have a way to handle it. So oops, it didn't save it. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, so we need to add a new command here to be able to handle this. So the issue right now that we have is that we don't have a way for us to handle by looking at the output of the client, like when the client's first joining, we don't have a way to handle when we get a list of all the users that are already in the channel. I added the command for the room state on top, and I added the global state. So I added support for this too, but I didn't add support for when we get the list of everyone that is in the channel right now. And then I also, yeah, I didn't support these two commands. So 353 is not supported and 366 is not supported either. So we're gonna have to do that, change our scanner a bit to support those things. But this is very helpful that we are able to see like the different chats and like how the system behaves just by watching this, by just attaching to it and just like seeing some of the behaviors that we're seeing over time. I also will have to figure out why it's doing this every time someone joins. Maybe it's having issues when someone joins and it doesn't know what to do with the command. So we will figure it out. Cool. So that's the channel. This is a text, and we're expecting to get here. We're gonna get. Oh, it's better if I just copy the whole thing. So we're gonna get this here. This is everything we're gonna get. And then as a value, we want to get all the users. So anyone that is in the chat, we want to get that. That's kind of what we're going for here. Oh, we have a new subscriber, SSP. Thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate it a lot. Imagine that there's fireworks in the screen. You also get a founder's badge. Cool. Thank you so much for this for the sub. I appreciate it a lot. I am very close to the I'm very close to the green screen. I think that should be the goal. Closer to the green screen. I think I should have a suggestion box for you to be able to just drop your ideas. So you can just drop your ideas in the suggestion box. Wait, is that what do you mean by bits? Do you mean like the bits themselves, or wait, what did I miss? Message, channel name, reply, user. I have a user. I don't have a user. Because that looks weird. Yeah, I don't have a user. Oh, cheers. If you have any, maybe, but I would not be sad if you don't use your last bits on me. Oops, that looks weird. What did I do? Oh no, it froze. Okay, so what did I do here? The username's missing. If you're enjoying this stream, don't forget to subscribe. Sorry, not subscribe. To follow. Subscribing is not needed. If you're enjoying this channel and you're enjoying the stream of me shouting with Copter and SSP, just feel free to follow. I stream pretty much every 2 days. And I'll probably be streaming tomorrow too. What we're building is a chat. We're building a way to parse the Twitch chat. That's what we're going for here. And we're almost done. We just need to figure out like some of the messages I'm not parsing correctly. Like for example, we're not parsing when we get a list of all the current users. So those are things that we will have to figure out as we go. But for now, we can just keep adding them as we find them. So this is one, and excuse me, and the other one that we need to find. There's one more that we need to support to be able to handle, so the parser doesn't crash. Let's see. So the last one that we need to support is this one here. I think we have all of them, but we might find that it might crash from time to time based on fairness. But yeah, if you're enjoying the stream, don't forget to hit the follow button. We're trying to get to 70 subscribers in the next couple of weeks. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just writing the test. So I will have to write I will have to write a test here, but I also have to write a test for the scanner itself. So first I'm going to write a test here. So I finished this one first. Yeah, so I just want to make sure that okay, so let's see. We have the channel. Don't have the username still, but here we're gonna get just the end of it. That's kind of what we're going for here. We get all the names. We have a username, we have message. So yeah, so that's kind of where the thing that will happen is like as we find more of these cases where we're not handling in the scanner, we have to go back and make sure that we are handling it. And that means that we have to find go back to the specs and find like the different messages that Twitch might be able to send us as part of this. So we might be going back and forth for a while to make sure that we cover everything that we need here. So we have this one here, and then we could save. Let's save this one, and then let's go back to our. We could go back here and try to run the test. It's gonna fail hard. Yeah, it's gonna fail very hard because right now it doesn't know how to handle it. So we have to teach it how to handle those new errors. I want real followers because it doesn't feel right to have like a bunch of bad accounts following me that don't view it. So I will prefer to have real followers, if that makes sense. More like people that are watching and they're enjoying it and they're people just like you. It will make it more fun, right? Okay, so we need to update our scanner. So our scanner currently doesn't support the different codes that we have, so we have to update the test for it too. Here is a humongous file that keeps track of all the commands that we get. Let's see. It goes here. Let's put it here. So one of the things I want to do when I come later on is just to come back and clean this file up because it's super. Okay, so what we're doing here, what I need to do here is I want to just take this part here and feed it to the parser. So we're gonna feed it to the parser, and we will have to figure out the output of it. So what we're saying now, this file is so big that my editor is struggling to see it to handle it correctly. But the first one that we need to handle is the one where we pass, we get all the users that are connected to the chat right now. So we have to figure that out. The next one that we need to figure, so this one starts with a 5. So we could just do another case down here. But for now, let's go to here and, no, sorry. I mean here. And then we could go back to our scanner. Nope, I don't want to use that. We go back to our scanner and we run our test. So we want to make sure that our test runs for this one. If it doesn't run, we need to figure out it doesn't work. So there is like something is broken here. I noticed that our tests, when we print out like when something is invalid, we're not saying like what is causing the invalid error. So while I was doing some of the refactoring, I added a way for us to see what is a character that is failing, because then we could just reuse that. So what we're doing now is that we're saying this is failing in this character because we don't know how to parse it. And that will make it a lot easier for us to go through it. Okay, so we're failing in character 3. So we don't know how to parse character 3. Why is that? Oh, it's because the next character... oh, it's because I'm moving forward too much. So that's the issue. So here... is it a 3? Yeah. So here this needs to be a 1. And then we are just gonna do 1 again. So what we're doing now is because so the 7 here, just it's when you do 3, 7, yeah. So the 7 just is the 7 here. So we're doing 7 and then we go 1, 4, 5, 2, 6. So we're doing 5, 2, 6, right? But here, because we're moving forward too much, we have to do something like if wait, no, I have the 7. That is a bit weird. Maybe here the best thing to do is like, okay, so why is it failing at 7? So did I 307? No, 35. No, that's a wait. Okay, I'm not sure what this letter is, so let's just print it out and see what it is, just to make sure. So we're just like running through it and making sure that we get the right characters. We get a number because we're using runes, and runes themselves are integer, so we just have to convert it back to a string. So we're getting 3. So why are we getting? Oh, I see. It's because we're moving 2. No, okay, 2. Okay, we're getting the number 1, so we're getting 5. So we don't need to change that code there. Oh, I know why we're getting 3. It's because the letter is not going back. So this is here. So here we just need to do another if statement. So if this letter equals, yeah. So now we have, is it 5? 5. Yeah, it's 5 and then 3. So here we do that, and then we just move forward once, so we could get the next letter. So when we need to parse it, the one that we're parsing now is like when we first join, we need to wait to parse the messages themselves to make sure that we are getting the right message. So here we just need to check what C is to make sure that we have the right one. If you're just joining us, what we're doing now is that we're working on, so the first thing, the project itself, we're working on a way for us to parse the Twitch input Thanks, Copter. So we're parsing the input that we're getting from the Twitch client. So all of these are the different inputs that the Twitch client could send to us. This is like all the messages that we're getting. Instead of using something like called regex, which is just pattern matching, we are applying parsing theory here. So parsing theory just looks at a chunk of text and then tokenizes it. So you input the text into the parser. The parser will then send it to something called a scanner, and then the scanner will go character by character. And then every time it finds a specific token, it's gonna do some logic there, and it's gonna attach a token that we could find later on. We have most of the the logic to create the tokens almost done. The only issue that's happening is that I missed two different messages that the Twitch chat servers is sending to us, and we just have to learn how to parse it. We're just teaching our scanner how to handle these messages. The first one is a list of users that are already connected to the chat, and then the last one is just saying that the message above just finished and we just got that message. So that's kind of what we're going for right now. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so we're getting a 3. So here, that means that we're getting... There it is. Here. So we're getting this 3 now. So that means that we parsed the 5. We got into our if statement. Then we have moved to our... we have moved the pointer by 1. Our character pointer to 1 by 1. So now we're on the 3, right? So the 3 is a new token that we have to learn how to parse. So for now, I'm just going to create a if statement because there's not a lot of things in here. So we're going to check for the 3. And since we're now in the 3, we need to figure out what we need to do here. So let's see. So we could probably just like read all the way to when we get it here. Yeah, we just have to consume all of this at this point, right? It's like we consume the channel. So we consume the 3. Then we consume the space. Do I have something to handle equal sign? Yes. So we want to make sure that we have like the necessary logic to parse like the other characters that we're gonna get. So the next character that we're gonna get is the equal sign. So if you get to the equal sign, we could then figure out how to scan it correctly. Yeah. Oh, we don't have an equal sign to scan because we're using it for the tokenizer. So we're using it for the tags. So the client itself gives you tags, and we're using the equal sign only for the tags. So we might be able to push it forward in a different way. Okay, so we are using it only here. So this is the only place that we are using the equal sign. So we just have to be careful not to ruin that. And since we have tests for all of this, it should be okay. Yeah, we're not using it here at all. So we just need to make sure that we go to the tags. Okay, so I'm just going to add it to our... so we have a giant if switch case statement that just goes for every different symbols and different characters that we're going to be getting. So I'm just going to add a new character here that is just going to take the equal sign. So we're going to take the equal sign. We're going to see if we have an equal sign here. We're just going to move forward. So for example, we are not sure if you can see this, but we're here right now. We just need to consume and then let the parser handle the rest. So here we just do next. And then we're gonna do we're gonna start token. So we're gonna do ts scan, not start token, pass a value to it. So now that we created a token, we just have to end it because there's no value attached to the equal sign. I'm not sure why even the equal sign is there. So when we look at it, the equal sign is not really doing much. I guess it's just indicating that the kind of message you got and that this is the value of it. So like, hey, you got this you get this message, which equals this chunk of information here. But in the case of the way that we're handling it, we don't have to worry about it. So I'm just gonna parse it and move on to the next thing. So that means we parse the equal sign, and then we just return val and because we have an equal sign already that we're using. Yeah, so we return the equal sign, and since you have the equal sign, we are now we handle the equal sign, so we could handle the rest of the parser is going to handle everything else for us. So we just have to go back to our main file here and make sure that we scanned correctly. I just want to open the test cases. So we are working on this line here, so we are making that line work. So we need to pretty much just read until we get the next. So we have the name, but there's no colon there, so I don't think we need a name or anything like that. So we're gonna read until we get the equal sign. Sorry, yeah, let's do that. So here I'm just gonna do I'm gonna create a new function here. So I'm gonna create a new function, and that new function is gonna handle most of the logic for us. So we're gonna do scanner, and we're gonna call it scan. They call it here. So we want 3 5 5 8 6 5 3 6 6. So we have we're just gonna call it scan name reply. So the server is replying back to us with the name. We're just gonna scan it, and any values here. So the way it will work is like we're not gonna store any information. We're just gonna scan it, and then we're gonna return a token. Return a token, and then we're gonna return that there. So here we're gonna return just 0 because we didn't find anything, and false. No, we define something. So here will be the name of our token, which we haven't created yet. So I'm just gonna call it name, just the way that they have it here. I just want to make match the conversion as much as I can. So we reply I, and doing here we're gonna return true. Cool. So what we need to do now, pass the character. So yeah, I do. So we're here, and we have space. So let's see how far we could get. So we could do we're gonna move the pointer as much as we can, and then we're gonna start. We're gonna just I need bow, yeah. So I'm just like going through it and figuring out like what we need. Oh, so we're gonna pass the value to it. We're gonna pass the value to it. Should start a new token. Yeah, let's start a new token here. So we start a new token. Then we move the scanner once because we're still on 3. We want to move on to the empty space, so we're gonna do that. So here we're gonna do next. Now we're in the empty space, and we can just return here. So we can return, and we're gonna return our new function and name, and we need to pass the val. So we need val to end the tag. So the way that we're going to end it is that we want to do we're going to call the end tag method that we have, and it takes vals. So that's why we need it. But what we need to do is here is we're going to pick we're going to take a peek of this next character that we have available. Is this one. So we're peeking. And then if we're picking, we're gonna do if C equals see ya. Thanks for hanging out. So we find the equal sign, so that means that we just want it just here, we just want it break. So what we're doing now is we're looking for the equal sign for as our breakpoint. So this is where the logic itself is gonna stop. So we're gonna loop through here, we're gonna pick the next character, and if the next character is not equal to equal sign, we are just gonna call next. So this will get us to the right character itself. I just need to make sure that we're using the right name for the peak function. BR. Why am I getting an error? Oh, I know why. So this is not defined. I forgot the equal sign here. Okay. So the way it works is, so we are going to loop through it. So we're going to loop through. We are going to get 3. Then we're going to do next. So that means we're now in the empty space. Maybe I could just start here. I don't think I need to start it from the top, so I could just do here. Okay, so let's try that. So we are calling next. We are then gonna call our scan name reply message, and then we're calling that. Then since we're calling it, we are gonna do. We're gonna call it, yeah, name reply. The name reply has a for loop that is gonna push our pointer. It's gonna pick out the next character first, and if the next character is not, oops, that's the issue. Yeah, no, that's right. So if the next character is not equal to equal sign, it's gonna push the pointer forward by once. Then we're gonna go do it again. It's gonna check for the next character until it gets to the equal sign. When it gets to the equal sign, it means that we have found the end of here. So we are here at the beginning when the function gets called. Then it's gonna go each character forward until it gets to this equal sign here. So when it gets to the equal sign, it's gonna return. So we could try that out. But first, we need to change our scanner too, because our scanner doesn't know our new method name. So we have, this is the new one. Doesn't know the name reply one. So we're gonna teach this one here. And we're gonna add the code. So I've been adding the code to the side as a comment because I want to make sure that I could go back to the document and make sure that go back to the IRC client document specs. I want to make sure that it has the right information there. So that's why I keep going back and forth. Cool. And then we also have to add it to our conversion map. So we have a map that converts the keywords in the tokens themselves back into a way that makes sense, because right now they're integers. So because I'm using iota, is converting to integers. So that's kind of how I'm keeping track of things, right? So the way that works is that we have a bunch of tokens. Since we're using parsing theory, we have a bunch of tokens. Then we take all those tokens and then we insert them into our map to convert it back to strings too. So that is that. And I think this should work now. So we could, for testing, we could just run this and see what tests do. So let's see. So it stopped our S, but which S? Oh, so one thing we need to teach our parser is that the next, when we call, so we have a way to keep ignore spaces. The issue that happens is that, as you can see, there are spaces here. So we need to let our simpler message parser know that there's going to be white spaces between the characters. So we can just do it here. So we're now saying, when you get to the next value, so whatever, the way that we do this is like whenever you get to, where is it? Here. Whenever you get to here, so whenever you get here, know that everything from here on has spaces, and we should take all those spaces with us as well, so as we were parsing it. So that's kind of what we're doing there. So we need to say that we need to set our flag that says ignore spaces, a space, to be able to handle that. So we run it again. Cool. And now we could just look at the output. So the output itself is what we're getting back from our scanner. So whatever the scanner itself is the one creating the tokens. So what we get back from it is the different tokens, right? So we so for comparisation, let's just go here, here, and here. The message that we're trying to scan. So this is the message that we're trying to scan. So the message that we're trying to scan has a colon at the start, then it has a bunch of information, and then we have our code, which is name reply, which you could see here. So there is a white space, so it tracks this white space here. Then it converts this set of integers into a token, which is just name reply equals name reply. Then it goes, oh, it misses a white space. I want to miss that white space. It misses a white space. Do I need it? No, I'm not using white space for anything here. So I don't think I need it. So it's supposed to say name reply white space because there's a white space here. So we're missing this white space here. So I'm debating if I should go back and figure out how to add it. I could add it, I think. No, I won't be able to add it. Maybe, could I? Let's see. Maybe I could move the, so it sees the white space. Oh, but it's missing yeah, it's missing. I'm ignoring this whole thing. That's fine, because I'm ignoring this whole thing. Yeah, that would be fine, because I'm ignoring this whole thing, so I'm not using it. So for now, it will be okay. Maybe later on I might need it, but so I will invest time on fixing it. Okay, so we get the equal sign, which is here. Then we get a space. Then we get the hash, which is the hash next to the channel name. Then we get our channel name. Then we get some white space, which is the white space here. Then we have colon, and this is our colon here. Then we get the message itself. So this is the whole message that we get back, which is all the users were part of the chat when the account started. So I think we have all the information. I usually just like copy this here because it's easier than typing it myself. And then I'm gonna go to our end here and just like put it here as the input that we're expecting. And then we just rerun our test. So that's kind of where we are. Okay, so we added a new command to our scanner. And that means that if you go back, would this work? I think, yeah, it might work. So if I go back here and I run this, this is still failing, but now it's not failing hard. It's failing like, this is not being parsed correctly. So we just have to figure out how to fix that. And then the one that we need to fix is this one here, which is the next one that we're gonna fix, right? Because we were missing two commands. We were missing the first one, which adds the list of users that are listening, connected to the chat right now. And then we're missing the one that tells us that we just finished parsing that. So we could just go back here to our scanner and add the new one here that we're missing. If you're just joining us, what I'm doing is I am building a Twitch chat parser. So it's going to parse the chat for Twitch as we get it from the server itself. So we're going to connect to a Twitch chat server. And then every time get a message, the message is going to go through this parsing that we created. We're applying something called parsing theory, which is just a fancy way of saying, look at this stream and take any symbols and make it into a token. So we're creating tokens out of this. So for example, for the colon, we're just creating a token that is just that says like, hey, there's a colon here, and then pretty much that's how it applies for everything else. So we input the string, like how we get it from the chat server, and then we convert it to something like this, where it says like there's a colon, there is a white space, there is a cap, there is a more white space, and then it just keeps doing that over and over again. And then we will write a parser that we're writing a parser that just goes through it and just converts it back to where we need it. So I need to take a quick break. I'll be right back. So I'm putting our standby page, and so I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I'm back. I just had to go to a quick walk. Sorry for putting that and not giving a notice. So every time if you put an ad, you get a like 19 minutes. Every time you run a 60-second ad, you get a 30-minute break or 20-minute break of ads when people start watching the chat. The channel. So it's kind of helpful for me to just run it a bit more often, because if you don't run them, that means that the first one see it. Oh, I made it. So I ended up making it. Yeah, so I made it. I made it part of a stream. So it's just like some fancy animation that I found. And then yeah, I just ended up making the stream myself. If you want, I could share it to you. Yeah, I could send it to you later. Well, not I could share it to you like where I got the animations, but then I could show you how I did it too. But yeah, I found it. There is a training company that I gave some animations for free, so I ended up just finding the one for the starting page. So this one here. So they had this animation of like, they had this animation of like an astronaut just bouncing. And then they do have like the cool coffee cup too. So I just ended up using both. Yeah, I could send it to you later, but I like it a lot, so I ended up just sticking with them both. Yeah, so if you don't run so if when you become an affiliate, if you don't run an ad, so every user that tries to see your stream for the first time, or every single time, they will get hit by an ad. If you run a like a break ad during your stream, you get a break for 20 minutes or so, where you could just constantly take that break, so your people could just jump in and see the stream without having to see an ad. Because one thing I noticed is after I became an affiliate, less people stop by, because I guess they're dropping off when they see the ad itself. So one thing I will try to do more consciously, I'm so sorry for doing this, is I'm gonna try to run an ad break, like every 40 minutes or something like that. Oh yeah, the one that is like asking to be able to turn that off. Yeah, I read that one. It would be nice if they do. But yeah, so like most people are asking for a way to control that, like turn it off or like change it instead, because like for now it's like what I noticed is like less people see like most people are dropping off before they hit it. before they see the stream itself, and they decide if they're gonna like it or not. If they just get hit by an ad and they're like, yeah, I'm not watching this, so they just end up dropping off. So for me, it's like I'm gonna try to run it a bit more often. And again, sorry for running it more often because it's more of a break. Yeah, it's more of like a taking a, like it's like it's bad for the people that are watching because I'm gonna run an ad that is 60 seconds long, but it's good for the people that are coming in for the first time and discovering the stream itself. But it would be cool if you could turn it off. Cool. So we're back to it. So a recap of what's going on. So I the short version of this. I want the shot for the channel to show up in the stream as an overlay. What I'm working on is I created a I'm creating a Twitch parser, a Twitch chat parser in Go. Twitch uses something called IRC, which for their chats, so we could use that to get messages in real time. So if you could see here, we have it running in the background, and you can see some of the messages showing up here. So like someone joined, it automatically triggers a message that we have right now of a bot saying like what we're working on, and we get a bunch of extra meta information that we're handling here. We can see when people join and they leave, which I'm not going to really do anything with that. But that's kind of what we're doing. We're using something called parsing theory, which just means that I'm parsing each character and creating tokens out of it. So I'm doing something called tokenizing, which is just I take an input, I create a bunch of tokens, and that's the output of it. So for example, this is how it looks. When you write it back into stream, you get like a bunch of tokens out of it. So that's kind of where I'm going now. There is two things that I was missing when you first join the Twitch server. It gives you a list of people that are listening. So the end goal is to have the chat messages show up as part of the stream. So I want them to show up here. So the goal will be to show like somewhere here. Like when you send a message, I want it to be part of the stream because first, I'm replying back to you, and I want to make sure that it also gets captured in the stream. So first, you could see when I saw your message. Second, I want to make sure that when I take this video and put it into something like YouTube or anything like that, the messages themselves are there because some of the comments or some of the messages that I'm getting are very useful. It will be nice to make it part of the chat too. Like for example, if someone rewatches this message outside of Twitch. Rewatches this stream outside of Twitch, you won't be able to see what I'm replying to. Most of the time, I will have to read your question aloud, and I don't want to do that. The goal will be to put an overlay here that shows like all the different messages that people are sending. That will be the end goal. We built a bunch of tooling that lets us do that already. Like if someone subscribes, we have something going on. That might be the case. There was a someone named Copter was chatting with me today, and the next project might be a Fall Guy autoplay bot account. So like writing our own way to parse to connect to the Fall Guys, to be able to connect to Fall Guys and be able to play the game through some programmable way. So like you know how you could control browsers through Python. So imagine that, but for Fall Guys. The goal will be to write some AI, so like run it through machine learning, like scrape some of the videos to run it through machine learning, so we could create a AI that could play the game. So I'm not going to write my own video parser. I have learned my lesson of trying to parse Flash into HTML. But this is more for fun, so I'm kind of relearning Go. I haven't written Go. I started writing Go again like 4 weeks ago. But before that, I haven't written it in like 2 years or something like that. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be the next thing, right? When I'm not streaming, we will have some kind of like simple PC just playing Fall Guy through the chat. I think that's how we're gonna be how this channel itself is gonna blow up, is have a way to play Fall Guy through the Twitch chat. Well, you have to do with arrows, so you have to send arrows to move it. So you have to do yeah, that's kind of how it's gonna end up. That's how we're gonna make it big, just by having a off hours stream of Fall Guys 24/7 playing automatically. But it would be very cool to do that, right? So like if that's kind of the thing we could do, right? We need to figure out training data, and we need to figure out a way to collect that training data. So it might be go that way. But it could be fun, or it might be impossible to do. But I will not knock it until we do it. So that was kind of what we're gonna be doing probably in 2 weeks or something like that. Will be like after I'm done creating all the overlays and all the things like that, we are gonna move into using something like a way to play Fall Guys through code, and then through the chat, and then a machine learning training set. But here's the issue: it happens in real time, so I'm not sure how it's gonna work, right? Because if we're gonna do it through the chat itself, that means we have to make the decisions very quickly, or we're gonna get trampled. Which what happens all the time. Yeah, the chat will be very hard, right? We won't be able. So the way that the chat works is that there is a 10 seconds delay. Yeah, so the way that the chat itself works is that there's a 10-second delay, and then when that delay happens, what is FT? Oh, no. So right now I'm taking a break. So for the next couple of for about 2 months, I'm taking a break. So I'm just hanging out, doing some programming, some live streaming, and then for the next 2 months, and then after that, I already have something lined up. So in 2 months, I will have my streaming schedule will reshift a bit. But I might just streaming more at night, like from 8 or something like that. But for now, it's like I'm just taking some time off, just hanging out, streaming, playing games, and reading. But that's kind of the thing that one thing that I wanted to do. So one thing I wanted to do from like one of the reasons why I did this is I wanted to take a bit of a break and like do something, like go back to learning Go or something like that, and just hanging out. So we are missing a last message. So 6. And yeah, I'm really learning Go, so it's really nice to be able to go back and like write in it. So it was also something that I will be doing in my next role too. So it gives me like a starting advantage where I don't have to relearn the language as I start working on it again. But since I'm doing I also challenge myself to learn CSS. So there is that. So we are parsing. Where is this? Okay, so we're parsing this message. Mid-size is growing. Like the company went from like 50 employees all the way to like I think like 200 or something like that. So they're growing a lot. Maybe by the time I join, it's gonna be a big company. So, but yeah, it's like a mid-sized company. I like what they're working on, so it's gonna be cool. And I get to do like someone was asking like what do I specialize at work, and I was telling them that I do I'm a site reliability engineer, but which pretty much just means like I'm a full stack engineer, but also I know infrastructure and everything else that comes with it, and I have to do some weird tasks sometimes. So I get to do that there too, which is always exciting. How about yourself? So I just have to go back to the list here. Cool. Cool. Is that when you mentioned that you were doing React Native? Is that when you were doing React Native? Cool. Nice. Okay. So, oh wait, it's gonna return something. That's very cool. My job before I started the break, my team was doing React Native too. They were doing React Native and they were also maintaining a React application itself. That might be also something cool that we could do in the stream too. It's like, let's do a mobile app just for fun. And a reply. And no names. Yeah, there are. Like I like the animations too. Like there's a lot of things you could do for animations and things like that. So it would be nice to build it during the stream too. Just like get like a quick understanding of how it will work and things like that. And then Combo itself. Are you gonna make a React Native app for Combo? Oh, yeah. It could be cool. You could send push notifications to the phone and like get people to schedule things. Ah, okay. So I haven't used Next.js before. That's true. Yeah, so like that's kind of also the thing I was debating too, right? It's like for me it's like it's cool that you're building something. You're gonna try to see if you're building something that's gonna be using Twitch API to be able to try it. Like you're building a brand around a Twitch like SaaS product, which is kind of cool. It's not kind of cool. It's cool. It's very cool that you're doing that. I hope so too. I saw that. So Friday I think or something like that. I saw you were doing a Stripe integration to it. So that was very cool to see. So okay, this one is a bit different. We need to handle everything until the hash. So we're just gonna use this logic here and just like hash against the hash. What convinced you to move to Next.js, like versus what you were doing? It's like a wait. Do you so like the thing I struggle with React just in general is like I want it to be searchable. I want to be crawled by Google. Oh yeah, so the service rendering is the one that I haven't used in React before, but like it's very important for me because if I build a website, I want it to be crawled by a lot of crawlers. So I want it to be crawled by Google. Google does execute JavaScript when it's crawling the website, but I know some of them other ones don't. So like I wonder if the Bing one does it, for example. That would be like my only thing when picking a framework. And that's why sometimes I just go and like straight up just do static. I just go straight up and do just a static where I'm not using any frameworks, at least for the front page. It's like the front page is just like a static, and then I move everything else. Ooh, we're getting rated by Began. We're getting rated by Began. 51 people are now rating us. Woo! Welcome everyone. So thank you so much for the raid. What you guys were working on? Super Raiders. Cool. Thank you so much for the raid. We're just hanging out, talking about Next.js, React, and while we build a parser in Go for the Twitch chat. Cool. Thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it a lot. This is awesome. Thank you so much for coming and stopping by. Yeah, we're doing Go. Welcome, Eric. Yep, pretty much just dropping the mic. And yeah, we ended up, so you see that the follower notification, we ended up building it in Go. We built a server send event server, which is just listening for events in real time. And like every time someone subscribes, so I'm using the Twitch API to do this, and it's like cache because people abuse it. Like I'm abusing it right now, but hopefully we could move on to using something else. Thank you so much for the follows. So Purgatory, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow, Eric.dev. Yeah, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome. We're just hanging out and just building something Go. So a bit of background. I've been working in Go for like, I used to work in Go permanently, but I stopped doing it for a year and a half or something like that. And now I'm just relearning it. And the way to relearn something is to build something cool. And to build that something cool, I'm building a Twitch. So we have a bot. So it's weird that it hasn't triggered yet. I think we ended up killing it. So we have a bot running right now that is just going through the messages and BOT. So my accent is very heavy, so it's BOT, not a bug, but so we have a BOT that is running, is then collecting information, and as we collect information for the Twitch chat, we're building a Twitch server, a Twitch client. So you can see at this point is everyone joining, and like all the moderators and things like that. And my spamming bot is kicking in. Sorry about that. So let me clean the chat. We were not ready for this many people to join. Yep, it's spamming, literally spamming the channel. So I'm just gonna turn it off. So that's kind of what it's doing. So let me clean the chat. So yeah, sorry about that. Sorry for the spam. But the bot itself is just listening for someone when someone joins for the first time, and just like putting a message on it. One thing that we need to do is like fix some of the things to do that as well. Cool. Yeah, so I saw some of those libraries. Sorry, I'm not bringing it back. It was so noisy. Because the thing that happens is like, since I made a subscriber, since I made a moderator, so since I made a moderator, it has like, it could spam the channel like really bad. So it could send 100 messages in 30 seconds. So I just turned it off. But yeah, so Eric, I saw some libraries that were doing it, but they were using regex. So the thing that my library is doing a bit different is I created a parser. So I ended up creating a parser and applying parsing theory on top of it. So the parsing theory is just mostly converting to tokens as it reads the message. So I could show you the test for it. So this is how it looks, right? So we put an input to it. So we put a message into our parser, and then into a scanner. So we create a scanner. You put an input into the scanner, and then the scanner tokenizes it. That's kind of how I ended up building it. It's a bit more tedious because you have to hand roll most of it. You're going character by character while you're parsing it. And that's kind of how I've been building it. The thing I've been working on right now is I didn't add two. So when the bot first joins, you have to do a bit of it sends you have to handle a new state. So like you have to handle the list of people joining for the first time. So you need to do that too. That's kind of the way I was looking at it. So you see. So one of Aqua. So one of the things that happens when you're doing like things like this, it's harder for you to contribute to a certain thing because you want to change it so much. So you might end up breaking the API. That's kind of one of the things I struggle with. Is like if I want to make some improvements to the libraries. Yeah, so I was debating between optimizing or for time or building the parser myself. Building the parser sounded cooler, so I just ended up building the parser during like the past week and a half. But sorry, for Aqua, so it's harder because you might want to break the API, and most of the things that Go thrive on is that some libraries will promise the APIs will never change. But if you want to make sure, depending on the changes that you want to make, you might end up breaking those APIs. So that will make it bad. So we don't have so right now we ended up killing it. So we don't have anything that is handling any kind of notification and things like that. The only notification we have right now is the new follower. So thank you so much for following Dark. Thank you for following Comsense, and thank you for all the new followers. Thank you so much for following me. Cool. So that's kind of the thing that so one of the suggestions that I got was like putting a live ball somewhere and letting everyone control it during the stream. So we're kind of debating on what to do with that as well. If one like the first thing I want to add some commands. So dark twilight, I want to add some commands. So maybe when you come back, you see some commands there. Yeah, that's very true too. So like the libraries themselves might have other issues too. Because the way, so like it all depends on how you manage memory and things like that. One thing that also the Go community try to do is like they try to use as many they try to reduce the number of dependencies that they have per project, and they take they found the team that built the language itself is very more like it's easier to copy a dependency than to have the dependency itself. So it's like easier to just copy a tiny bit of it. Yeah, so that's kind of one of the things that they try to go for, because like it's very expensive to maintain dependencies, right? So if you have a code base that has like 1,000 dependencies, it's hard for you to go back and like fix those, or if there's any bugs or anything like that, you're gonna have a hard time doing fixing it or anything like that. But yeah, thank you so much for all the follows. I appreciate it a lot. But yeah, so right now we're just building the parser from scratch, and like so we only have to make some changes to the scanner because the scanner itself didn't know how to handle. So I'm also going, like, one of the cool things about it is that I'm also have to read the IRC specs, because the way that the Twitch client works is the Twitch chat is pretty much just an IRC server. So you just read the specs and you start implementing pieces of it. So what I'm doing now is just like going through the specs, because there was one that, so there were two commands that we were missing. Sorry, not commands, reply messages. So reply calls. So we were missing the one. So when you first join the server, it's gonna give you a list of all the users that are in the chat already, if there's any, and then it's gonna give you it's gonna tell you that and they're giving you the list. So if the list is big, it might chunk it, it might cut it into pieces. If it's small, it's not gonna cut it into pieces. So that's kind of what we're looking for. We have just gone through it a couple of times, and like this will be the last ones that I think we have to add. After we add it, we just have to worry about how we will we could go back to the parser itself, because like the way that parsing theory works is that you have a scanner, so you have the tokenizer, so you feed it the message to the tokenizer, and then it turns a bunch of tokens, and then since you have the bunch of tokens, you could take those tokens, and then since you're tokenizing them, you could go token by token and figure out like the different inputs that you want to do. So that's kind of the thing that we did when we started the stream. We were working on the tokenizer, in the parser itself. But the parser itself is just like a bunch of if statements checking like if the current token is this, that means we got this message, and then it starts building the message structure that we have. So we have this structure here, which has all the messages. All the messages are going to be returned in this structure, and the structure itself has the raw input that the Twitch server sent to us. Then we have the scanner, which is doing pretty much all the heavy lifting. Then we have the command, which is it could be a private message, it could be a cap, which is what the server the server itself supports. Then when someone joins, when someone pings, and different things like that, it keeps track of those messages, right? And then when so I could show you the test. Another thing I've been trying to do is also keep track of tests. Like I'm trying to test this as much as I can. So again, I'm testing as much as I can. So the test here is just this is the input from the Twitch server, chat server. This is what it's going to give us when someone starts sending messages. So when you guys are sending messages, it kind of looks like this. There's a bit of extra information, but for now we are keeping it simple, right? So that's kind of how a message looks like. We get the channel, we get the message itself. So we know that is so we first know the kind of command, because this thing here tells us that this is a private message. And then in here, the channel here, all the channels started with hash, so that's kind of how we keep track of it too. So we have a hash, and then the next thing that we do is just mostly the message itself starts with calling. Cool. Thank you so much for this for the sub, Dark Twilight. Thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate it a lot. Yeah, so that's kind of how the message itself, how the chat server sends the messages themselves. Then you have the username here, which is between a colon and a exclamation point. So now we know here, okay, this is a message, so we know what the user is. We know the username for it. We know that it's a message because of this. We know the channel, and then we know the message itself. And in our case, the way we handle that case there, so first we handle the message, right? So if you look at the we handle the user first. So we know that the user comes first. So first we check that there is no other command being set yet. And since we know that there's no command being set yet, we know that we could move on and be like, okay, so what is the current token? So if the current token for us is a colon, so this here, we're like, okay, so it's a colon, and there's no command, so that means that we are probably just getting a user. Since we're getting a user, we could then we're gonna move forward by 1 point. So we're moving we're moving everything forward once, and since we're moving everything forward once, we want to make sure that the next second token we get is the exclamation point. And since we know that exclamation point means that the user, there's a colon and an exclamation point, we know that the username is in between those two. We could be like, okay, so we got the next token that we got was exclamation point, exclamation mark. So that means that the current value that we have is the user, right? Because when we first started the scanner, we added the username as a value to the colon token. So that's kind of how we're doing it. We are just going through like the different ways to scan it, and that's kind of how we handle the user. And then we handle the private messages is a bit more it's a bit more work, because we have to do a bit of heavy lifting. For example, we need to make sure that the current token is a private message, and then we just have to loop through it. So we have to loop through every next token to start constructing the message itself. So that's kind of how we'll be doing it to constructing the token. So we are requesting the next token that is available, so we get the value, and then if there's any errors, we're just gonna throw the error. We're gonna return the error and stop processing it. And then the next thing we're gonna do is like, as we go forward and like we're moving forward, if the token that we hit is a hash, so we are here now, so we hit a hash and we're like, okay, so we're in a hash, so that means that the value here is gonna be the channel, so the channel name. So that's kind of how we're constructing the channel name here. And the next thing that we have to do is we're going to look for the colon itself. So the colon itself determines where the message starts. So when you type something into the chat, you get this message here, and then we save that as a value. And then if we have all the messages already stored. If we have the channel name and we have the message, that means there's nothing else for us to scan. So we just break out of the loop itself. And then that's how we get the message itself here. And that's pretty much how everything else is going to work, is that we're going to be like, okay, so this is a join message. A join message has a user and it has a channel that the person is joining. So we could determine like those certain things by doing those, by comparing the tokens and kind of adding a bit of logic to the tokens themselves. So like for the join, it's pretty much the same, where we just have to, when someone joins and we get the join token, we know that someone is that the current, sorry, if the current token is a join token, that means that we know someone is joining the chat. And since someone's joining the chat, we could then do all the work there. But yeah, that's kind of how the scanner is doing all the tokenizing, and the parser is putting everything together and returning back to the user. One thing that I try to do as much as I can is write tests. So pretty much I'm just writing test cases and then trying to implement the logic itself. So that's kind of what we've been working on, and the things that we're kind of moving forward to do. But yeah, thank you so much for the follow and for the subscription. For subscribing. So this is kind of how we're going to be doing, like the thing that we're going to be doing for the next couple of days, just like a bit of Go. And then the end goal of this is what I wanted is to create an overlay that shows the chat in real time as part of the stream. So we're going to go through the different steps of like working a lot on the back end, which is what we're doing now. Then we're going to move into the front end, and we're going to start doing some CSS, JavaScript to be able to get this information into the stream itself. And they also fix the spamming bot. Like the bot itself is very spammy, so we're going to have to figure it out. There is ways to know when you're being rated. So maybe when we are being rated, it's like just turn off the welcome message. One thing I'm also bad at is I sometimes lose track of like when to be like, hey, this is what we're working on. So like give a summary, and that's kind of what the spamming bot is helping with. It's just like giving a summary when people join, because sometimes I forget to do it. So the way I decided is like I just wanted to learn Go. So I needed a way for me to relearn Go. So I haven't done Go since like a year and a half ago or something like that, maybe more, maybe like 2 years. So I haven't read Go in 2 years. So I wanted to relearn Go, and this sounded like the best projects. Like you're kind of building, you are doing multiple things in Go that you don't usually get to do. So if we look at the spamming bot, the code for the spamming bot, there's things that you're doing here that you don't usually get to do often, which is starting a connection. So in Go, you get a dial. And then that dial, you could do, you could decide if you want to do like a HTTP connection, TCP connection or a UDP connection. And then you could just pass the server that you want to connect to. And at that point, you have a connection now, right? And then you could start writing to that connection over and over again. So you could write by using FMT, you could start writing to that connection. So that's what I'm doing. So Go gives you enough tools to be able to allow you to be efficient while working low-level parts of the network stack, for example. That's kind of the part that I liked about it, was that I was able to just like jump to it and start using certain things too. Like I started writing it. So the spamming bot, because the reason why it's so spammy is there's no logic stopping it from doing weird things like it just did. So what I did here is pretty much just telling the Twitch API, chat server, that I support these different capabilities. So I support membership, tags, and commands. And then I authenticate it against the server. So I send them my token, and then that token just gives me access to pretty much any channel that is streaming publicly. And then I give my nickname. So the nickname for the bot itself, you give it to it, and then it's just gonna take it from there. It's gonna start using it, and then you tell it which channel you want to join. So this is how I'm telling it to join my channel. So that's pretty much it. At this point, you have connected to this chat server, to the Twitch chat server. You have given it enough information to be able to know who you are. And then the next thing you have to do is you have to start reading the message that the server is sending back to you, right? So now you could use Go itself has a bunch of readers that you could be using. So I'm using a buff IO reader, which is just reading messages off the wire. And so IRC is pretty much just plain text, so there's nothing fancy you have to do there. And since it's plain text, I could use another package that comes with standard library text proto, which is handles a bit of the erroring. So like if there's an end of the line or things like end of the connection or the connection gets closed, it's able to give me an error message based on that information. So that's kind of what I ended up doing. So because again, this is a pretty simple bot that I ended up writing in like 30 minutes doing the stream. It takes a reset file that says what I'm currently working on. So I created this file, which is pretty much a text file that says what I'm working on. The bot itself reads that file, and then since it's reading the file, every time someone every time someone joins, it sends a message like, "Hey, this is what we're working on." Sometimes I do. Sadly, I hate to admit this, but sometimes I do dream in code. Yeah, it's a thing that happens where I am trying to solve this really annoying problem, and the only way to solve it is by writing some code. So yeah, sometimes, not always. But yeah, so the bot itself just one thing that I want to be careful with is that when we started testing this in the stream, it will send messages for itself. So I'm not a 14-year-old prodigy. Sadly, I am older than that, and I don't think I'm of myself as prodigy. It takes time for me to learn things, and I like to learn things in the open. So this is also why the stream is very helpful for me. It's like I'm able to do things in the open and like try to learn new things. Like I have never written an RRC client before, so I'm doing that too. I'm not calling you Sally. Sorry, I'm not calling you Sally, but yeah. So that's kind of the things that I'm learning. So yeah, so before doing all of this, like 3 years ago, I ended up writing a libs parser. So I'm just like stealing some of those. So I ended up writing a libs parser to learn how to do a bit of parsing theory. So I'm just stealing some of the things I learned here. Some of the things I learned here, I ended up taking it and just reapplying it to the Twitch client. So that's pretty much what, how I have done. Like the parsing theory side of things, I have done it before. The IRC part of things, I have not done before. But yeah, this is kind of how I ended up learning about parsing theory stuff. And then parsing theory is just something like you pass a message and just create a token. So like for me, it's like since I ended up just using, this is very simple. It's just checking for contains a line. So if it contains ping, so the Twitch server sends you a ping every 5 minutes, and you have to reply back with a so it sends you a message. Oh, I stopped it. Sorry, it sends you a message that says like ping, and then it tells you like a value, and then you have to send that value back to them. So that's kind of what this is doing here. But again, I ended up building this in like 30 minutes as far as the stream to start like getting a feeling of what we're gonna have to do to start writing the parser, to start moving on to like handling the messages from the client itself. Yeah, that's kind of what we're working on. And then the bot itself is just very spammy because there's no limitations, like there's no threshold. So every time someone joins, it's just gonna send a message. So that's something that we're gonna fix as part of the work that we're doing with the parser itself. But yeah, parsing theory, learning new things. That's kind of how I see the stream going. Just me learning new things and like also struggling with CSS. You see me struggle with the CSS. On the first 2 streams, I was trying to build my different screens for the stream using CSS and HTML. I'm not really good with CSS, so you will see me struggle with CSS. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on. So for now, I'm gonna go back to adding what we are missing here. So what we're working on now is just a way for us to parse the last code that we don't have. So the last codes that we don't have is just the end of message. So when we get a message, sorry, when we get all the names of people that are in the channel now, we have to have a way for us to like get notified and parse that correctly. So now what I'm trying to do for now, I just have to rerun the test and figure out where I left off, and figure out like what will be the next thing I have to work on. So let's see. So I'm doing something weird on line 25th of our test. I just want to make sure that I didn't break anything when we were adding our fields. So line, oh, I see. So something's wrong with my, please. I think that's our, yep, this is not good. Yeah, so I ended up making this structure incorrectly. And this file is huge, so I want to reduce this file to just saving it into plain text. Go has this thing called has this pattern of creating golden files. So a golden file allows you to just have what you input and output out of it. So that's kind of what I would change. Like when sometimes like every week on like Friday we go through a big refactoring, and that might be the next thing that we end up refactoring. And how to move these tests into like their own files, because we want to make sure things work. So I am doing something that I shouldn't be doing. So the thing that is happening here, we call our next function a bit too much, and the function itself is panicking. So we have inside of our scanner, we have a next function that we just call over and over again. So every time that if we hit the end of the line, we should never hit the end of the line when we call next. So when you hit the end of the line, it just returns an error. I just have to figure out where that error is being called. And this is how I panic. So I am panicking here. So instead of returning an error, I'm panicking because it will be, it's kind of like fatal. We don't know what to do here. We have reached the end of the line. So I'm just throwing an error. And the thing now that I need to do is like figuring out where that panic is happening. And the way that you repanics in Go is from the bottom up. So as you go up, you can see the different places that were in the stack that made the call. So at some point, there is a chunk of code that is doing something that is tuned in between. So I usually just go here to the last. So the next files are runtime files. So I just go to the files that I'm using. So we know that this is a function that is panicking, that is returning a panic message. So I'm just going to go to this line here and see what it does. That's the panic line. So this is pretty much, yeah, it's just telling us where we panic. And then the next line that we want is 63, which is the biggest offender. And it's in this file here. So this is the one that's calling next. Okay, so wait, why is this one calling next? Oh, so I ended up calling copy and pasting. Since I ended up copy and pasting, I ended up with the same function name, which is not a function that I want to use for this. The function that I want to use for this is it's called and names. So we just have to make that change here, and that will fix it. And again, it's because the way that the logic itself works is expecting something else, and that something is, so our name reply function is terminating when there is a equal sign, and our end of names is ending when the channel names comes in, so when there's a hash. Cool. So now we're getting an output out of this, right? So we're getting whatever the server is returning, we're getting an output from it. So our tokenizer is getting is taking a line. So our tokenizer is getting this line here. So it's going through it, it's checking each character by itself. Then it gets here and it knows that it's a end of names command or response that we're getting, and then it checks for the next hash. So it checks here, and that's how it gets this channel. And then it gets the message of it. So end of slash names list is the message that we're getting. And our tokenizer is doing that same thing. So let's compare it. So we just want to make sure that we have the exact thing that we're getting into. Okay, so here we have colon, and then we have a value. Then we have the kind of message that the response code for it, which we have it. Oh no! So the response message is missing. So you have to figure out why it's missing. So we have sorry, the token that says what kind of response we're getting is missing. So we just have to go back and figure out why it's missing. So we have a space here. Then we have to, so we're supposed to have the next token that we should get is end of names. But we don't have it there. We have then the hash, which is explains like the channel that the message was sent. So we just have to figure out why that happened. And I think I know. So we have the tokens. So these are all the tokens that we're parsing. We have end of names here, and then here we have a map that does all the conversions, right? This is converting of the different messages that we're getting. The issue why end of file is not showing up correctly is because it's not part of this here. So every time that we add a new token, we need to write the string version of it, because we are using something in Go called IOTA, which is just for our tokens, which I could show next. So IOTA itself just is a way for you to create like a counter that increases your constant values. So you start with a so I created a this is kind of like an alias of int. So I'm creating my own type based off int. So it's called token, and then I am creating a new constant value called an EOF, which is just end of file, and it starts with 0. So IOTA just means like when you call IOTA at the top and you go all the way down, it just goes 0, 1, 2, 3, and just keeps going down the line. So that's kind of what we're doing. The cool thing about using IOTA is that you could reorder these tokens and nothing bad will happen. So like your code will continue working the same because you're not assigning the integers directly. So that means that anytime you change it, it's just gonna work. Same thing for this map too. So since we're using the constant value as to create a map, we could reorder the map itself, and there's no side effects of all. For example, we ended up refactoring some of the commands in a way that we could reorder them. So that's kind of what we ended up working with. So here we ended up going. We could run the test now. Oh, where am I? Oh, that's where else. Yeah, we're going to run it here. Okay, so we could run the test here just for the scanner. And now the scanner itself to have end of file names. Yeah, so this is what we're expecting. We're expecting the colon, then the value of the value next to the colon, and then white space, the token that we're getting. So the response command that we're getting, then the hash, which is it tells us that the channel that this is happening in. So this is the channel, and then we have the white space. Then we have colon, and then that means that we have reached the end of the message, and this is stuff. So I just take this usually when it looks correctly, and I just add it as part of like what we're expecting part of the test. So I just put it here. But that's kind of what we're doing. This is the last one, the last thing we have to do for the scanner to be able to move our spamming bot to start using our scanner too. So one of the things that we were trying to do was like into the stream was to go through this and make sure that we have our spamming bot could start using the parser. So we could start using the parser. Cool. So I just need to run all the tests, make sure that it works correctly, and then we could move to the scanner. To the parser itself. Okay, so that works. All the tests are passing. That means that we have added our new response codes that we're getting from the Twitch server, and then we can just rerun it here. So here, our new commands are being scanned correctly and tokenized correctly. Now we just need to start adding more information. So we just need to add it to the parser itself now, because we added the test cases, but we never taught our parser how to scan it or how to manage it. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing. So here we're just going to go into our parser. We're going to open our parser, and then we're going to open our test file so we can the different things we're going to be doing for the parsing. So we have two new commands, which are name reply and then end of file. So we have to ask support for those two things, or just one. I don't think we don't care about this one. So maybe I'm just gonna remove this one. The end of names it's not helpful for us because we're not keeping track of when things end. At least for this here, all the information that we want are kept in the first command. So for now, we might not need this. Let's just get rid of this one for now. But we are parsing it correctly. We could ignore it though. So we're parsing that correctly, and our scanner is not going to fail when it gets to those tokens. We just don't need to parse it. So the thing that we're going to do now is we're going to go all the way to the end. And here, we just need to figure out where to place this. So the way it works is... here is that we get all the welcome messages, then we get ourselves joining. So when we join for the first time, we get that message saying that we joined, and then we get the user states, the room states, and then we get the our response with the names of the people that are in the channel, currently in the channel. So what we have to do now is just add a new function here that will handle that for us. So I'm just going to create a new function. Sorry, I'm going to create a new method. So one thing in Go that kind of trips me off sometimes is this is a function. So this is called a function. This is called a method. So the difference between methods and functions is just pretty much a method is attached to a structure, and a function is not attached to it. That's kind of the only thing that the difference between them. And you have a pointer receiver here, which just means that you could interact with structure that the method is part of. So I'm just going to create a new method here, and I'm going to call it let's see, name reply. So the goal of name reply will be to parse the message, a name reply message that we get from the Twitch client. So since we're doing a parser, we just have to go. One way that I like to structure my methods and my functions is how they're being used in the order that they're being used. So we are placing our ping. Our new function, our new method is going to be under ping, which is what we're calling it next. So that's kind of what we're going to do. And I believe this will be the last thing before our bot to start using it. So here, I'm going to return an error because we are going to, if there's an error during the scan when we're scanning, we want to return that error. Okay, so we want to make sure that the message that the current token that we're on is the one for our name. So as we're going through the parser, our function is going to be called. So back here we have a for loop, which is just looping through every single new value. So it's going to run the functions with the first token that we get. It's going to go through all those functions. All of them are going to get executed. If the tokens that those functions are handling are there, it's going to trigger. So maybe there might be a better way to handle this, which we might do. We might refactor this as part of the refactoring day. But the way it will work is that it's going to go through all those functions. It's going to call all the functions, and then it's going to make sure that if there is any tokens that we need to be parsed there, it's going to parse it. If not, it's just going to move on. It's going to keep moving on, and then it's going to get to here where it's going to get the next token. We're going to call for the next token here. When we get the next token, if there's an end of file error, it's going to break. If there's no big error, if there's a big error, then we return. We just return an arrow back to the caller. Welcome back, Copter. You missed a raid. We got raided before, which the chat was lively, and I ended up spamming the chat. So our friendly neighborhood bot started spamming the chat, like sending a ton of messages. So here, this is what I did. So we need to fix that. But it was very spammy, so I had to turn it off. So it's currently off. Welcome back. We have a ton of new followers, and we have one new subscriber. So thank you so much for the new follow. Welcome new followers, and thank you so much for the subscription, for subscribing. So right now, so we ended up adding the command to. So we're still working on the Twitch client, chat client. We ended up adding a new command to it. A new token to our scanner, and what we're doing now is updating the almost. So we ended up doing we added new tokens to the scanner. Now we're just teaching our parser how to handle the new tokens that it will be getting. So we just have to go back here to our parser, to a new parse name reply, and just make sure that we start handling it correct. So here we're gonna check the current token is equal to name reply. If it's that means that we are now parsing something like this. So we just have to teach it how to parse it, right? And we do that by just looking at the tokens themselves. So we know we're here now. So we have the channel. So one thing that we could do here again is we are gonna set here, we're gonna set a command to be a name command. So the command that we're scanning right now, the message that we're scanning right now is a name. Where is it? Yeah, it's a name. So that means that the command that we have right now is the name, and then here we just have to we are just gonna loop through the whole thing. So we're gonna loop through the whole thing. Oh, this is not breaking. I need to, yeah, I'm not sure why that's not breaking. Okay, so the way that this is doing here is that we have to loop through. We're gonna create a loop. We're gonna go through that loop is gonna just continue called our next method. So the next method, it just gives us the next token in our list, and then the next token. If the next token is well, first we have to check for our error. So don't forget to check for your errors. So here we're checking for our error, and then we're gonna return that error. We're not doing any changes here because the errors that we're getting are coming from the scanner itself, so they're very helpful. So we have to change things here a bit much. So here we just need to check that the next. So every time we call next is setting a current token, is updating our current token to a new one. And here we just need to check that the next one is a hash. So if you get a hash here, that means that we have reached the channel. So we are here now. So we have the channel name as a value. Oh, cool. Thank you so much for the share points, Copter. Thank you so much for those 300 bits. I appreciate it so much. Cheers to you. And we could sorry, the bot was not running, but those messages also show up, so we could do cool things with it when we start scanning it too. And you get a cool badge next to your name. You're in the leaderboard. I appreciate those bits. It's confusing now because my channel points are called bytes. The points that Twitch uses is called bits. So this is gonna be a competition here. So we have channel bytes and sharing bits. So we have the channel here. So we could do message, and then we could just set the channel that we're gonna be using. Yeah. So then you have the value here, and then here we just do. So now we have. Oh, so the microphone that I'm using has a button that mutes myself. How long have I been muted? So I mute myself because I am standing right now on my desk, and the mute button is like under. So when I move up the desk, like when I move on the it gets muted. I might put tape on it. This is not the first time it happens. It happens a lot of times when I'm playing. So sometimes I'm like just like hanging out and just being like, wait, why can't no one's listening to me? Why is no one listening to me? and it's because I muted myself. And I have been muted for like 5 to like, well, I've been muted for a long time. Okay. So what we're doing now is thank you for telling me though. Like, if I was muted for a long time, that would have been really bad. I feel very, very sad because then we just muted coding. Okay, cool. So now that we have the value. So okay, so what we did is that we went through. We first looked at the reply that we have. So we make sure that the reply we have is the correct one. So sorry, the current token that we are is the name reply token. Then we said that's the command for the message. So we're starting to build our message structure. Then we have our then, because we know that we're inside of a name reply message that we're parsing, we are now going to move on to finding the different pieces of it. So we're going to find the channel, which starts with a hash. So we're going to just do a for loop. So we're going to for loop through this whole, we're going to loop through it. And then we're going to call next. Next returns an error and then the value for that token, if there's a value. If there's an error, we're going to return. Then we start looking for the different tokens that we're going to be getting. So if the current, so every time next is called, it says the current token. So if the current token is a hash, that means that we have found the channel. And since we found the channel, we can now set it as a channel. Then we move on. Then when we move on, we check that if the current token is a colon. So if we're here, that means we have found the message. So since we found the message, we could then move on to we could set as the message and then move on. What we need to do now is that when we find both of them, so the message and the channel, we need to just we need to stop our for loop, right? So we need to be like, okay, so our for loop is done. That means we should break out of it. So that's pretty much what we're doing here. I could change this to a break. Yeah, so we are just breaking here. So we break, and just means that we could also just return. Let's return. That's better. So we're just saying like we found our message and we found our channel, the channel that this message was going to. So it doesn't. We don't need to do anything else to parse this information. So then the information itself is going to be broken into 2 pieces. This is a channel. This is the message, and we don't have a user attached to it, so we don't keep track of the user. And then the message type is just namely the command that we used. So then we rerun our test. Did I save it? No, I didn't. I'm gonna save this. See what we got. And I'm in the wrong place. So now we're just parsing that message. That means our tests are passing. I just rerun it in a different screen. So yeah, they're passing. So that means that we are now able to handle this message correctly. So I wonder if we have enough information to start building, moving our spamming bot to start using this. So I think we do. I think we have. We do have. Yeah, we have enough to start moving it. So as part of the last thing that I'm gonna do for the stream is I'm gonna move on to just updating our spamming bot. So we're gonna back here. We're gonna update it to start using our parser. And the way it will work is that so I'm gonna leave that as it is. The things that will have to change is just these 2 things here. So this here will change, and this here will change too. So those all we're gonna rewrite this mostly. So what we need to do now is that we're gonna create a new. So we're gonna do parser. We're gonna create a new value. Just call it parse. Let's call it parse. And then here, I want to make sure why I call it function. And then now we have a parser. And our parser, the function that we're going to be calling is just parse message. So we're going to do parser that message, and we're just going to we're going to just send a line to it. And the line that it's going to be getting, so let's just move this here. So the line that is getting, so it's getting the line, it's parsing it. I can, yeah. So I was thinking about it. So I'm hanging out with a friend around 8, but maybe around 9 I might be able to play. So we're gonna parse it, and then since we have this returns an error too. Because we're in a for loop. So the way it works is that we are reading a new line. So every time we get here, it's gonna block onto the server send something, and then when it says send something, we move on down. We usually don't want it if there's an error. We don't want it like hard. We don't want to do this here. We don't want it. The only thing that will exit hard is if we get a connection error. But if we're doing any kind of parsing, we don't want to exit. We just want to keep parsing. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna check if the error is not null. I'm gonna do continue here, which just means like don't do anything down here. Just continue, go back to the top of the for loop, and then just print the error because we want to keep track of that error. So for now, we're just gonna print it to the screen so we could see it. And when we see it, we could go back and fix it. So because there will be errors. Okay, so here I'm gonna do a switch case where so let's see if the parser. So we have command. If you have command, I have to double check, but oh, it's because it hasn't been imported. Okay, so we have the way it works is that we are gonna use our parser, then we're gonna use command, right? So command could be two things. Commands could be well, it's pretty much any command that we have inside our parser. So it will be any of this here. So we are gonna do that. Then we are gonna do a case where we say if the case here, if our command, and we can use the parser again. So we could do parser that ping. So we're gonna handle the ping first because it's the most important one. If you don't reply to the pings on the server's just gonna close your connection. Okay, so here, so this is how I was handling it before. Before I had an if statement that just checks if the string contain a ping, and then we split it. So the message itself will look something like this. Oh, let me leave this file. So the way it will look like, I'm getting a ping. Yeah. So the way that a ping looks like is that you get a ping command. Oh, we have it here. We get a ping command, and then we get the value that we have to send back. So what we're doing now is that we are, it's pretty much we were splitting there. We were splitting here, and we got a slice with this information in it, and then we had another one with this information in it, and then we just took the first part of it and send that back to the server. So what we need to do here is way different. So here what we need to do is here we are gonna, you can just do fprint, and we are gonna connect again. So we have to pass the connection to it. So we are writing to our connections because that's one of the cool things I'll go. And because there is writers and readers, and you can write when you have a reader interface, you can just pass it around and write to it because it has like the necessary methods to be able to write to it. So we need to again just do reply back with Pong. We're gonna do spacing. Then we're gonna put our message, and then we are gonna pass the so we could use parse, and then just pass the message back. So that will be the first one. I want to make sure that this is correct. So let's go back to the Twitch. There's like a whole section of ping. Oh yeah, my ping was wrong. My ping had a space in it. So the next thing we have to make sure. So yeah, I had a space here. It shouldn't have. I think that's why we were getting that wrong command. So here we now need to pass new line and return a new line. So we need to pass both because that's how they are. Sorry, IRC specs suggest that you pass a star and. So that means we implemented this line here. So that's done. The next one that we have to implement is for joining. So here, when someone joins, we are, let's see. I want to make sure that we're getting the name for join. So let's look at our parsing. Parse join. Okay, so for join, we get oh, we don't get the username. We should get the username. Can I see the username? So if we have the username, we could check that we're not joining ourselves, and since we're not joining ourselves, we could just cut some of the extra logic that we had. So I want to make sure that we have that. Okay, so join. We do. Oh, that's weird. I guess I didn't finish it. But how is that passing? Oh, we are, because so the way it works, the thing I forgot is like we parse the username before they join. So that's kind of what is happening, is that we're parsing the username already. So we don't have to worry about it. We already have the username. Okay. So what we need to do now is let's just create a, instead of like self-join, I'm just gonna create a value and put the name of our bot in here. So let's see, nickname is this one. So what we're gonna do now is like, instead of having that value that says like, oh, I'm joining myself, it's better if we just do something like this. If bot name not equal parse dot user name. So if we're the one joining, forget about it. Don't do anything. And now we take this and we put it here. So what we're doing now is that if I'm the one joining, I'm just gonna ignore it. So we're ignoring it, and so ignore this. Then we send a message to this channel, and this is a message. Okay, so I wonder if that works. One thing I didn't test is like some of these things have extra information. So let's look at some of the join messages. I just want to make sure that it doesn't do weird things when it joins. So let's see, join. Okay, so joining doesn't have the messages itself, so that will work. So this is what happens when someone joins. So we now have that. And then we can start it. Because there's not a lot of people joining, we're not going to spam. So we're getting the list of messages. It looks like it's working. It's not crashing. So maybe someone will join. If someone joins, we will get a message. But the next thing I want to do is like I want to handle some of the. So first thing I want to do is I want to handle. Let's see how the array one looked like, because that one was very funny. So I want to handle the array. So when someone joins array, so you get a message. So you get this here. It's a user notification saying who's rating. And then you get like a bunch of extra information about it. So you get like the person that is rating you, their profile image, as well as their how many people they're rating with. So we got rated with 51 people, viewers. So we just have to change. We could do certain things to that. So maybe that's the next thing I do during the stream. It's like handle that, or see this to that. So we could handle that, or a way for us to just like let's see. There's two things I want to handle. I want to handle being able to like not spamming the chat when a bunch of people joins, but also making sure that we don't send a bunch of messages all at once. So maybe the one that we're suffering the most right now is when the stream starts, it goes and pings a bunch of people. So what we could do is like let's just build a list of users that are watching right now. So these people are already in the chat right now. So we could just start building the list on it. So we could start doing that, and that would be a lot more helpful. So we could do that first, right? It's like we could. I'm gonna create a list of users. So currently, current in chat, and here we're just gonna create a. It's gonna be a map. So we're gonna make a map. And it's just be a map of strings. We're gonna start with 0, but we're gonna so the way that make works is that you could pass the length of the array and then how big the array is gonna be, but then also the cap. So and the cap is like how much memory is gonna allocate. So right now we're gonna start with 0, but we're gonna allocate, let's start with like 50. So we're gonna say that our user in chat slice is gonna have a capability of 50, and after it gets to 50, the way that go works is that it will then double it. So it will be 100 and it just keeps doubling it as it goes. So what we need to do is like we want to allocate the memory as much memory as we can from the first time without overdoing it. When we do that, then we could start the array itself will start growing later on. So the current users. Okay, so we have the current users in chat. And we know that the current users in chat are going to come from if we have a so we're going to get a name reply message. So the name reply message is going to have all the information about the users that are coming in, but the way that the way it has it is that it has space, so we can find all the new users by just splitting on the space itself. That's kind of how I'm going to do it. I'm going to just split. So I'm going to do users, and then here I'm just going to use this. There is strings that split, and I'm going to split it based on. So the first argument takes is the string that we want to split, and then by what we want to split it. So we want to split it by space. So that's kind of the first thing I want to do. Then I'm going to print it to make sure that we are getting the right information. And if we're getting the right information, yeah, I'm going to comment that out for now because we're not going to use it, but let's start this again. So what we're doing now differently is that we are now starting to build like a list of people that are joining. Oh, where is it? Yeah, so right here, we have a list of all the users that are currently in the chat. And so we could start building that array. So we could do that here. And maybe I'm going to declare it like this. So I will do current users in chat and then just set it here. I don't have to create a new variable. So current user. This is all the current users, and then every time someone joins, so every time someone, oh, I am missing the type. So the type here is a string. A slice of strings. I'm gonna do that. For some reason it's having use, but let's see. Okay, so we have a list of users, and we're gonna append every time someone joins. That is not myself. I'm gonna just add it to the list. So I'm gonna use append. So the way you append things to a slice in Go is that you have a built-in method called append. Append takes the current slice that we want to append to, and then it takes whatever the value rate is. So in our case, it's parse.user. So we're gonna append it there. So we're building a list. Let's see. Did I spell it correctly? Looks like I'm using it wrong. Oh, okay. So it's spamming again. So it's spamming again because the list of users is not set correctly. So it's going and doing it again. So let me clean the chat. Sorry about that. So we're doing it live. So it's spamming the chat because the way that the Twitch API works is that it then goes into after a while, it then tells you that all of these people join. So that's kind of the thing that we want to avoid, right? It's like when we don't want this to happen. we want to make sure that when people join, we don't get that we kind of build this whole thing where it's just like if this user is in here, we don't do anything. So I need to check why is append doing that. I shouldn't be. So append. Yeah, so I'm doing that. I'm not sure why it's saying that. So I have to look at what it is. Oh, okay. So it's because I'm never reading it. So maybe for now I'm just gonna print it. So we could see what it is. Current users in chat, and I'm gonna take this off now because we don't want to spam the channel again. So I'm gonna just take that off. Take this off, and then here. Okay, so now this is all the users are in chat. As we go, get it twice because we got 2 messages. Right. Okay. So now the next thing is I need to check if the current user if the user that just joined is part of that chat. Sorry, is part of the chat already. We shouldn't send a message. I'm not sure if there's any helper functions in Go, but the way I'm gonna do it is currently in chat equals false. So if it's not, and so the way it's gonna do it is then here we could do currently chat. If currently chat is false, right? So if the user is not in chat, then we are just gonna send a message. And to do that, we are gonna create a for loop. So we're gonna do for loop. It's username. And then we're gonna just loop through all the users that are currently in chat. If all the users are currently in chat, oh, I messed up the name. So we want to do all the current users are chat. Something. No, it's just name currently chat. So we're gonna loop through it. Then we're gonna get the usernames. So we just want to make sure that I am getting the usernames before I do anything else. So we have all the usernames. Yeah, so we have all the usernames there. So here, if let's see, parse that user is equal to username. So that means that the current users that we're going to is we are going to do current. So after rename currently. So now we know that this user is in chat. If it's in chat, we don't do anything else. If currently in chat, we are currently in chat. Then we go here. The only downside of this is that it has to go through all the users. So we might be able to use a better data structure. Oh yeah, we should use a better data structure. But for now, for the sake it's an array. We could if we use a map. If we use a map, we will be able to make it more efficient. Right now is O of n. But if you use a map, it will be to find the user will be just O1. So we could use a map. But for now, I'm gonna keep it like this, so we could try it out. Then we do that. So we shouldn't be here unless in the evening. So let's go back a bit so I could get the. Okay, so this is new file. Let's go forward. Okay, so we are here. We're adding a new user to the list, and then we're also sending a message. So we send the message because that user has not been part of the chat before. Okay, so we have that. We import it. We have a for loop. So what we did is that, so what we're trying to accomplish right now is we don't want to send a message if the user is already part of the channel. If the user is already part of the channel, we shouldn't send a message at all. And then, sorry, when a new user joins, it should be true, not false. When a new user joins, we are then, so new user joins, we send a, wait, where's, yeah, so a new user joins, we send that is not our account is gonna send a message saying what we're working on, and then it's gonna append it to the list of users. This is not very efficient because we have to loop through every single user. Sorry, we're gonna loop through all the user names. We could make it more efficient, but for now, I'm gonna stick with this. So let's see. So now we are going here, in the room state. It takes like 10 seconds for it to just like kick in, but it's gonna kick in, and then we're gonna see what happens. While that is happening, let's just fix this code and make it more helpful. So the way that we could optimize this code, instead of using a slice or an array, let's use a map. So we could create a map. If I create a map, it will be a lot easier. So a map is this. So when you do an array, the searching an array is O of n because you have to search the whole thing. Oh, it's still doing it. Why is it still doing it? Oh, that sucks. It sent it a lot. Okay, so it's still doing it. I'm gonna get rid of it. Still spamming. So let's figure out why is it spamming. Let's see what happened. So what happened was it's joining, but it should be par. That is weird because we have. Okay, so this is where it ended, but oh, well, that's weird. We didn't get a lot of them. So there. Let's see. For some reason, we let's see, where was it? Right here. We only got ourselves. That is weird. We only got ourselves, and then since we only got ourselves, we got everyone else. So the logic itself wouldn't work at the beginning. So the logic that we were waiting for, what we're doing is like we're saying like I think we have to go back to the startup. So like if the server's starting, we should just ignore all the messages. But how? That's something that we have to figure out next stream. It's like since the server starting for the first time, it's giving us like a bunch of information about the users, and we will have to figure out how to handle that later. Because oh, is it getting the states? No, it's not getting the states. That is very weird. So we will have to figure out how to handle this in the stream tomorrow. So for now, I'm just gonna make a map because we still need the map. I'm gonna make the map and make it a boolean. So what we're doing now, so yeah, so a map is you could search a map O of 1, but then when you use an array, the search is O of n, which just means that you have to go through every element in the array to make sure that what you're looking for is correct. So in our case here, we are going to change this a bit. So the changes I'm going to do is the changes now is that the current user, the way that we use current users is by using the username as part of the key for the map, and then we just set it to true for now. And then here we're just gonna get rid of this for loop. We're gonna deal with that one next. So we're gonna have to do a bit more work in the beginning. So when we get the list of messages, we have to do instead of adding it, like declaring it right away, we have to loop through it now. Usernames. Okay, so let's do this one. Usernames, and then we're gonna loop through the username. So we could do user name, and then we're just gonna loop through it. Change users. So we have all the users now. We are going to add them to our current user chat map, and we're going to use the username. So username, and in here we could do anything in here. It doesn't really matter. So now that we're so what we're doing now, since we changed using a map, we have to loop through our array of users. So we have a list of users, we loop through it, and then here we are going to send that into, why is it, oh, it's an integer. So I need to do this username. Okay, so we have a list of users, so a slice of users, then we loop through the slice of user, and then we assign it to our map, and the key is the username, and then we have true because we don't have anything else. Okay, so that fixes part of it. What we need to do here now is we need this one here. Okay, so we have that one here, and here we could do something like if we're gonna okay. So when you have a map, a map could return two values. So it could return the value of yourself, and then if the value is there for the key. So we're gonna do so what we're doing okay here is if it could be true or false. It's false if the key is there. Sorry, if the key is there, it's gonna be true. If it's not there, it's gonna be false. So what we're doing here is just checking for if the key is there. If the key is there, so it's true, we are just gonna continue. So we're not gonna do anything else. That means that these users here. So the difference between this solution and the one that you had before is that this one is O of 1, and the one we had before is O of n, which just means that you have to go through the whole array to figure out if something is there. So the worst case is like the username is not there, which is most cases will not be there. So you have to go through the whole like figuring it out. So that handles like when a user joins. The issue that we're having now is that we're getting a bunch of information when someone joins, like when we need to figure out how to handle all of these joins, which are not really joining. It's more, I don't even know why we get those. I guess it's the client telling us like, hey, these people are here, so they're just joining right now. So we need to figure out how to handle those. But I wonder if there's a way to handle it where it's something that we get beforehand. So we get user state. Why do we get so many user states? User state for... Oh, it's just the state of the channel. So maybe that's what I could use, right? I could use the room state. So let's... State. No, that one comes in. That one comes in too fast. Okay, so for now, I'm just gonna turn this thing off, so we don't spam. So I'm gonna print here. I'm just printing this to my terminal, so we could see like when it happens, and then get rid of it. Okay, so we're gonna print when someone first joins. We're gonna print we're gonna say welcome, and we're gonna print our terminal, and then we are just gonna see that happening over and over again, and it's not gonna spam our chat again. So that's kind of the thing that we can look at. So this we are using our file right now. But again, the main goal here is to get our bot working first, and then we will move on to start using some of these messages to start showing the chat as part of the stream. But first, we have to fix our bot before we do that, because if not, it's gonna be spamming us over and over again. Okay, so it says room state. Got the room state there, and then so we just need to wait a bit longer. So when it starts joining and dropping people. So while we wait, let's see. Yeah, so let's wait a bit, see if it shows up. And then doing it. Nope, still waiting. It's weird because you have to wait 10 seconds. Okay, there we go. So what happened here? So we first got a list of people that joined. So it's pretty much just us, which is empty, which is kind of weird. And then we had a bunch of people joining afterwards. So why are they joining afterward? So it happens like 5 seconds, but so I wonder if there's something else. So I see myself, then it's myself. How would I figure out if this is new people, like people joining right away? Oh, you know what? I could check how many users we have, and if we have, but it will grow over time. So let's see. What is happening right now is that we're getting a bunch of users that are already part of the chat, which are already watching. And we need to be able to keep track of those users, right? So the current list is just myself, so the bot account. There's nothing else in there. And then as people join and this part, they come back. What is up? Not right now. I think I'm gonna end the stream in like 5 to 10 more minutes. So like I wouldn't want to run an ad right now. It's kind of too late too. I was trying to do it more often, but I forgot. Yeah, I totally forgot. So I forgot to run the ads. So that means that everyone else is like coming. For context, for the people that just came and joined, one thing that happens when you become an affiliate is that there's pre-roll ads. So that means that many people have a hard time finding out your stream because they see the ad itself before the stream itself. And then they just leave, so they never see the stream. So what I saw when I became an affiliate is that less people look at the stream over time because they get hit by the ad. So what I'm trying to do is run an ad like every like 30 to 40 minutes, and that will give us like 20 minutes or 30 minutes with people that are like joining and seeing without seeing the ad. That's kind of the thing I was thinking about, but I totally forgot. I'm not really good with keeping track of time, so that's what happened. But I'll probably do that. So, I think I'm gonna just stop here and think a bit more of how to handle the massive spike of joins that happens over time. Maybe the best solution for this is the way that I was thinking about it. So like this is what happens when a raid happens. So maybe I could just kill 2 birds with 1 stone and just create a system that is able to handle a raid. So if a raid happens, it's just pretty much this. So when a raid happens, I want to just send 1 message at the end of the raid. So maybe the way I will do it is like if I get a bunch of join messages, I'm able to just like constantly start a timer and then keep that timer, resetting the timer every time someone new joins. And then at the end, the timer will trigger afterwards. So I feel like these messages are coming all fast. So I could probably set a timer to 10 seconds or something like that. So when in 10 seconds, if someone doesn't join those 10 seconds, it automatically triggers an event. So that may be the best way to do it. But for now, I am ending the stream and I'm looking for someone to raid. So let's go raid someone that I really like. They're doing JavaScript and React. So this here. What is up? No, it has to be coding. So we can only do raids for people that are coding. So I'm gonna do this one, but maybe tomorrow you could pick the one that we're gonna do. Oh, okay. Can you send me the? Can you post the name in chat? Thank you so much for watching, everyone. It has been a pleasure. Thank you to our new subscribers. So thank you so much for let's see what he's working on. Oh wait, that count doesn't exist. Did I spell it correctly? Is he upload? What is he up to? He is upgrading Linux. Okay, so yeah, let's do it. Thank you so much everyone for watching. We're going to be rating a someone that is working on he's upgrading his Linux. So show some love. And I'll be back tomorrow. So I'll be streaming tomorrow. So thank you so much for watching. So I stream from 3 p.m. to like 5 or 6 Mondays, Tuesdays, and then I stream on Friday and then Sundays as well. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to press that follow button if you enjoy watching me code and chatting with you guys. I will talk to you tomorrow. See ya.